YouTube land, welcoming you back to another action figure review, and today we are having a look at something from Mattel Creations, and the figure in question is this one, as you can see in the contents. Normally I usually don't do the whole mailer box thing, but I decided I'll showcase this. So this is the Sharella, I believe is her name. So she comes in one of these brown mailer boxes, and then the figure inside is in one of these. Obviously the figure is not in there because I've taken it out of there, but this is the Masters of the Universe Powers of Grayskull line. Now if you're not familiar with the Powers of Grayskull line, if I just bring my camera up a bit, there you can see the actual Power of Grayskull line. So for those of you unfamiliar with Power of Grayskull, the Power of Grayskull was going to be the continuation of the Masters of the Universe line in the late 80s, early 90s. I think it was more late 80s than 90s. And they were going to include a couple of figures. Sharella was one of them. And the main good guy, and they weren't very imaginative with his name, is this guy. Now, I haven't done a review for him. I'm not sure if I will get around to doing a review for him, but this is Hero, and he sounds very generic good guy name. It kind of is, but he's He-R-O, so he's Hero, like He-Man. So they kind of, I wouldn't say he was the most innovative name design. There was another guy that was planned as well. There was a whole line planned. So if I flip around the side of the box, you have an image of Sharella. The artwork for this box is amazing. There is a mini comic as well that is packed behind the figure. I have that removed, but you have some amazing artwork of the actual figure. And then you have a really cool battle sequence of her. Now this is one of the Club Grayskull figures, which is why it's a Mattel Creation Club Grayskull. You can see she's fighting, I think it's Skeletrix or something along those lines. His name is supposed to be. He's supposed to be like the son of Skeletor and Evelyn, if I remember the lore correctly. I could be completely messing it up, but the design of this, if he looks very familiar, at least with this headpiece, this design is very, very, very similar to a very evil sorcerer from a certain tabletop board game that was released in the 80s of the name Hero Quest. It has basically the very same helmet design with that weird little orb thing on the top and the things. You see Sharella is firing her bow, and then you have one of the snake men. I know he's like the snake priest or something priest. We have hints at his figure being released in the, there's pretty much the body is a basic snake man for this guy, but the head is unique. And there was another Club Grayskull set, which was the 4-pack, the Battle for Eternia set, which came, I haven't done a review for those, but they came with a Skelly Knight, the Snake Man guy was like a two-headed guy, and one of the heads is very similar to this. The other head was a kind of more, more bestial head, so he had a couple of different things going on. And then there was like a Palace Guard hero character. So the way this is packed is in this kind of slip box, which is quite nice. And on the very top, her weapons and gear are in this piece at the top. So you have this kind of techno magic kind of thing going on. You have like wiring going into this dial, which is kind of cool. And then that is pretty much it for the box. But it is nice that you can, if you don't want the figure to be loose the whole time, you can repack her of sorts. Get everything back in there. you can put her back in. The only thing is you'd have to reseal the bottom of the box so it doesn't slip out. There goes Hero. In fact, I'm just going to move him out of the way. And we will pause it here for a momentarily, while I get the figure set up in the review station, and we'll have a quick look at her and all her trimmings. So bear with me, or her and all her accessories. We'll be right back. So here is Sharella and all her trimmings. So we're just going to grab a tape measure quickly so I can showcase how tall she is. She should be in the 5.5 inch scale, so you can see she is in that. Now I will say the more recent figures that Mattel have been knocking out in regards to the cartoon line, and this line, the face sculpts on some of the female figures have been knocked out of the park compared to some of the earlier ones. So if I bring in, you'll see that she does reuse some parts from Tila. So she does use a few parts from Tila, and most notably her boots. But you can see the head sculpt on Tila is quite good. In fact, the one for the Evelyn figure is just as good. And the head sculpt on this is quite phenomenal. I quite love she almost kind of looks like a Mary Jane kind of design head sculpt. With the reddish kind of Arborn, is that how you pronounce it? Arborn hair, or brunette sort of hair. Like the kind of red hair. She has her bow. Now the bow can't be stored anywhere on her back or anything like that. She can the only way to really store it is for her to hold it. Just like with the other Masters of the Universe figures, she's designed to pop apart, so you can mix and match parts, but I want to kind of keep her together. She does have her single arrow, and the cool thing about her quiver is that she actually has a working quiver that can hold that single arrow. Now it does look kind of funny when you have the bow and arrow set up and have her kind of trying to look like she's firing it, because this is more of a gummy material, and it's not an actual wire. You can make it look like she's drawing back on the bow string, but it is quite difficult to kind of do, and to make it look like it is resting on it. But you can kind of fake it a bit, I suppose, is the best way to put it. So you just have to be very delicate on how you set everything up. Have her, I suppose, have it that way and have it look like that. So you can kind of fake it. How does it make it to fake it, or whatever the hell that phrase is? But yeah, you can make her look like she has the arrow on the bow ready to fire. But again, I would be wary about overstretching this over time, because it's a gummy piece. It might snap depending on how it's stored. But overall, she is quite a nice figure. So she has pretty much the same articulation as any of the other Motu stuff. So her head is on a ball joint, so she gets some good side up. She doesn't get much back because of the way the hair is sculpted, but she gets some good side to side on her. Her shoulders go out that much. Don't think they go any further. No, they go that much. She has a waist swivel. Let's just take the bow out of her hand for the moment. She has a single jointed elbow with a swivel. And then she has a wrist swivel and a hinge. And she has the legs can split that much. Now you will start getting hindered by this thing. It is a separate piece, this belt, so you can move it out of the way. So just get you out of the way. There we go. I'll put the pouch to the front. So she can do the splits that much. She can kick forward. She has single jointed knee with a swivel. She has the boot cut. She has the rocker ankles, and then she has peg hold on the bottom, and she is quite articulated. So she is quite a nice figure. Again, as I said, she shares her feet, well, basically lower legs, with Tila. Her waist is I think it is a unique part. I don't know if they used it. have a feeling they may have used it before in the WWE line, because if I bring in some of the WWE figures, they did kind of have kind of more that kind of fur loincloth waist thing going on. I think they might have used that waist on, oh, what's her name? Is it Becky? Oh, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's one of the wrestlers with the she's the one with the red hair, and that could mean anyone, but I'm trying to remember her name off the top of my head and I can't. And if I could dig out the figure, I would, but I don't know where it is at the moment. So unfortunately, you'll have to kind of guess which wrestler she was based on. But I think she had that kind of furry waist thing going on. The other thing she kind of reminds me of as well is, if you're familiar with classics, the Motu classics that were pumped out by Mattel and designed by the Four Horsemen, she has a very Battlegrounds Teela look, and I believe Battlegrounds Teela was kind of based off this design. So I could be wrong, but I have a feeling Battlegrounds Teela was kind of a nod to Sharella. Obviously, she didn't come with the same gear. I don't remember her coming with a bow, but she did come with this kind of fur loincloth kind of look compared to the standard Teela look. The arms, I believe, are reused from these older style Teelas. In fact, where did I put her? Yeah, she doesn't have them visible, but I think this is kind of the older Teela figure. So I think these were reused, but this lower arm is all new. So there's new parts and old parts all mixed together. So she does also come with a mini comic, which is quite nice. So you have a brief story. You can see her teamed up with Hero, and they're fighting the forces of evil. There's a kind of backstory for her. You have this guy, is he called an evil technomancer? Does he have an actual name? Listen to see if he has an actual name in here. Be nice to figure out if he does. Quickly reading, I do not see his name mentioned. To see something like the Great Black Wizard. I don't think he has a specific name, so it would be cool. Now, one of the cool things about these images, you can see, if I didn't have that thing covered over, you can see that both herself and Hero are actually riding on Turbodactyls. And the Turbodactyl is a very old Masters of the Universe creature that was, well, dinosaur that was made for the very last figures, or very last of the original Masters of the Universe line that came out. And if you're not familiar with it, this is what it looks like. This is a Turbodactyl, and it is basically a large Pteranodon style thing with mixed with, as I say, techno-organic kind of look to it. So it has these thrusters underneath. It has an opening beak. Now I do know that this can become very fragile. Fragile. And you see it has some very airbrushed paint apps on. And you see there's like metal panels that aren't painted on this. See, was this 1986 is when this guy was released, or at least designed. So he might have been released for the 87 line, but he has these grabby claws. So if you have a character that you want to be grabbed, the idea was this thing would fly down, grab him, and fly away. But because this review is for Sharella, and she is depicted flying on one of these things, or at least riding on one, we can do that and have her riding a Turbodactyl. Unfortunately, I only have the one Turbodactyl, so Hero will just have to make do without one. But the idea was the figures would sit up here, just behind the head crest, and you just have to move her quiver out of the way, but she can actually ride the Turbodactyl, which is pretty cool, if you have one. Unfortunately, these things are stupidly expensive on the secondary market. I managed to pick this one up years ago in a big lot of just pretty much nearly every single Mo2 Masters of the Universe vehicle slash creature. So I have, it came in a big lot with the castle, or an original Castle Grayskull, and a ton of vehicles. So I have like the Laser Bolt. I'm missing one or two, but nearly all of them have Night Stalker, Laser Bolts, Stridor, Spydor, the, what's that thing called? The Attack Track, the Dragon Walker, oh, pretty much everything except for the Biontotrops, which is the Triceratops looking one of these, and the giant T-Rex version of the dinosaur stuff. They're the only ones that I'm missing. There was 3 of them released, this being one of them. I would love to get my hands on that Tyrannosaur, it was called. It's a cool big purple dinosaur of a T-Rex. Big purple T-Rex with laser cannons and a firing kind of boulder thing out of its chest. You kind of think Dino Riders, but with more techno-organic look to it. So we will get everyone back here again. We'll bring Hero back in. So bring her buddy back in. There is another character which I hope they do. Again, not very ingenious with his name. He was called Eldor. He was like a wizard, but he was like a, you know, your stereotypical sort of Merlin looking wizard with the white beard and a big hood and stuff. So again, Sharella, the she warrior, Hero, the hero, Eldor, the quote unquote kind of fill in for, I think he was kind of like the Orko style character. And I think there was 1 or 2 other guys. There was like a son of He-Man as well. I think this guy was supposed to be some sort of relative of He-Man, but there was a son of He-Man as well. So I'm not too familiar with the whole line. Overall, I do like the look of Sharella, and initially I wasn't going to bother picking her up, and I saw images of the figure and it's like, I might as well grab her and see what she's like. And she's actually quite a good figure, and she fits in well with nearly most of the line. So she has a, like, she's not too over tech side, and she's not too over the, you know, kind of, you know, she's kind of the more barbarian. She'd work really well with what's his name? Oh, the Savage He-Man. She'd work quite nicely with him. So if you have one of them, the Wonder Bread He-Man that Mattel put out a couple of years back, not the original one, because if you're trying to find the original one of those, you'd be looking to remortgage your house. But yes, but if you have the modern interpretation of the Savage He-Man, she would work quite well. Unfortunately, mine is packed away somewhere, so I'm not too sure where he is to get my hands on him. But overall, she is quite a cool figure. So there you go, guys. Hopefully I didn't waffle on too much for you, and I hope you enjoyed watching this review. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day wherever you are in the world and watching this from. Cheers, thanks for your time, and have a good one. Thanks, guys.